History repeats itself. Empires that ruled through deception, greed, and suppression of truth have always collapsed. Britain is no exception. Look at the Roman Empire. It fell due to greed, corruption, and moral decay. The British Empire once controlled nations through colonization, but now it faces the same fate. Today, Britain is in decline, political chaos.
Windsor Castle, once the symbol of British royalty and heritage, now echoes with Ramadan prayer. Windsor Castle, a royal residence of Queen Elizabeth, is now a new Islamic prayer room, a striking image of a nation in flux. This isn't just cultural change, it's a political and institutional earthquake. Prime Minister Starmer breaking new ground with a historic iftar at the House of Commons, denouncing the far right and also praising British Muslims and speaking of unity. But let's be clear, this is not about unity. This is about a shift in power, a shift in influence, a shift in identity. Transforming UK into a new Islamic state. Look around. London, Birmingham, Manchester. The sights and sounds of Britain's past are fading, replaced by an undeniable Islamic presence. The Muslim population was 3.9 million in 2021, and by 2030, it's expected to reach 8.2%, a staggering doubling in just 2 decades. This isn't just demographic change. It's a cultural and political revolution happening in real time, and yet those in power remain silent. But while this transformation happens at home, where is Keir Starmer's focus? Ukraine, foreign aid, military involvement. He talks about Russia. He pledges billions for a war thousands of miles away. But he ignores the rise of Sharia law, the growing Islamic influence, and the rapid changes happening right on British soil. Is he blindly leading the UK into World War III while overlooking the real crisis at home? And while Starmer looks away, the UK's political leadership is undergoing a radical shift. More Muslim politicians are in power than ever before. And with this shift in leadership comes a shift in priorities. A significant percentage of Muslims in the UK rely on state support, free housing, welfare benefits, and government assistance. Many families, often with 3, 5, or even 8 children, receive taxpayer-funded accommodations. The burden on Britain's welfare system is mounting, yet very few politicians dare to ask the tough questions. But in today's Britain, merely questioning this reality is branded as hate speech. Reports of rising crime linked to Muslim communities surface time and again, yet they rarely lead to meaningful action. But this is just the beginning. The ripple effects of Islamization run deep and far-reaching. The financial burden on the UK's welfare system is growing as state benefits fund housing, healthcare, and support for a rising number of non-working Muslim families. How sustainable is this? Schools are under pressure to introduce more Islamic-friendly policies, from halal meals to gender-segregated spaces. Why is British education being reshaped to fit Islamic values? Over 80 Sharia courts operate in the UK. Do these undermine British common law? And should religious arbitration have a place in a democratic nation? Christian church attendance is declining while mosques multiply. In some areas, the call to prayer is a daily reality. What does this mean for the UK's religious future? Reports of grooming gangs, honor-based violence, and rising crime spark public concern. Protests against mass immigration and Islamization are growing. Is the government addressing these issues or silencing critics? The United Kingdom stands at a crossroads. This is more than diversity. This is more than tolerance. This is a fundamental shift in Britain's identity.
Economic crisis, UK GDP fell, services flatlined, and manufacturing declined. The NHS is collapsing, hospitals overcrowded, doctors striking. These are not just political crises, they are karmic consequences. The universe is sending warnings, but few are listening. What comes next? Civil unrest, mass infections and disease, the loss of millions of lives. The collapse is not in the distant future, it has already begun. Now you have a choice. Ignore the signs or prepare. Protect yourself and your community. Step 1, self-awareness, recognize the warnings of the universe. Step 2, spiritual alignment, connect with wisdom beyond religion. Step 3, seek truth, see beyond media deception. Step 4, strengthen community, build alliances of honesty and justice. Step 5, survival knowledge, prepare for healthcare and food. 6. Sacred protection. Use ancient wisdom to shield yourself. Step 7. Service to humanity. Share knowledge instead of chasing personal gain. Those who prepare will thrive. Those who ignore the signs will suffer. Will you wake up, or will you fall with the system? The choice is yours. But remember, the universe always restores balance. Empires fall, truth rises.